Yeah, hello guys.
Hello, Sakib.
Episode second. So Heather, Usman, Sakib, and today we have a new guest as well. Heather, can you introduce the new guest?
This is our statistician, Mr. Sak. He will provide us with all the details, information about anything we need relating to any matches. So, welcome, Mr. Sak.
So guys, today's
He's
episode.
already on his job.
Just looking at the stats. So today's episode is first of all, it's about French Open review. The French Open is over. Let me first start with the fact that we all gave a prediction last week on the last episode that Djokovic is going to win, and he won the French Open. Secondly, I had started lobbying a month prior that Nadal is not going to win the French Open this year. That also happened.
Right again.
So now our self thing is good. Now we've boosted our egos. Now we can step forward.
Should have entered the betting business as well. You would have been a millionaire in 8 months.
Yeah, because betting mein hota so probably. But yeah, let's first of all, with respect, we have to start with Usman because Nadal did not win. I know Heather cannot stop her smiling, and I also cannot stop my smiling. But we have to get to Usman, and Nadal hasn't won the French Open this year, so we have to give him time to take out his probably anger regarding or sadness regarding Nadal not winning the French Open this year. So it's all you, Usman. First start off, and then we can continue with the episode.
Thank you, Sakib. First of all, I have no anger against Nadal because he has played amazing for the past 15 years, I would say. The only thing which is like hurting me, like from the Nadal's perspective, that we are sad as fans is that not that he got defeated in the semi-final against Djokovic. It's because what memories we have achieved for the past 15 years, him winning in French Open every year and battling the opponents and not giving up, and all those flashbacks were coming in, like winning French Open almost every year and having clear dominance on clay in the past 15 years. So that was a bit sad. I was saddened that that glorious era of Nadal is coming to an end because he has hit his peak and now he's going to go downwards. And losing or getting defeated by Djokovic is, I think, as a Nadal fan again, we were happy that he got beaten by one of the goats, not by any other ordinary player. So if he had to go down, I'm happy that it was Djokovic because the dominance Nadal showed against Djokovic and the way Djokovic returned his gameplay and his rallies and coming back in the match proves that he was a better player that day. So I have no regrets. Obviously, we always wanted another slam in his books, but it was unfortunate that he lost. But he lost while fighting during the match. And talking about the match, I would say that Nadal has been doing errors throughout the year, as I was mentioning with Heather as well. That the unforced errors were increasing. Double faults were really annoying for Nadal fans. You can see the Twitter everywhere. They are really pissed at double faults. So this was one thing which was haunting us throughout the year, but he was getting away with it with any other player during the round matches. And we knew back at the head that once you have Djokovic in front of you, he won't let that go. He will take the opportunity and turn on the match, which he did. As you know, the set point was really close in the third set, but unfortunately he lost. And the aces, there were so many aces which could have been done, but Djokovic mastered it in turning those back. And Nadal has been lucky, a little bit lucky. Every year, again, Heather will agree to that. This year, the draw was tough. He came in the draw for the big three, especially Djokovic, and he got the night match. And also, when you think that if the 5-setter match would have been a 3-setter match before the semi-final before that, the condition would have been different. And if he would have been in the other draw, again, he would have made it to the final, and he would have had different conditions.
And their ifs.
And there's ifs. So yeah.
I can see Usman getting emotional because it's ought to be. I can imagine as a sports fan and it's someone because you know that their careers are coming to an end, and you know that
it was like a tradition for Nadal's fans. Yeah. The French Open is here. We're gonna watch it every year, and we know he's gonna win. Yeah. So it was like a tradition happening every year.
So I'd like to go to Heather now because Heather is a Federer fan. I don't think he's an anti-Nadal at all. However, he he would want to say a little about what happened with Nadal, and then we can start off the episode properly.
Well, firstly, I'd like to praise Novak more than say things about Nadal being in decline and not finding
It's a
his
valid
best,
point.
because that's why these guys are so great. Novak Djokovic probably learned his lesson from last year. I mean, people say the conditions were suiting Djokovic, it wasn't bouncing as high, but they were supposed to be more helpful last year. Nadal absolutely wiped the floor with him. This tells me that Djokovic perhaps wasn't fully fit last year, didn't have the energy, whatever it was. But you see, the smartest thing that he did this year was he actually did to Nadal what Nadal has done to his opponents throughout those years of dominance. He actually broke down Nadal's backhand with his own forehand. He was going high and hard to Nadal's forehand, sort of pinning him to that backhand corner and getting him off the court and then hitting the ball down the line as hard as possible. Or he would go back to that backhand again and sort of wrong foot Nadal. Credit should be given to Djokovic. I think he played with the clear game plan. He was down 5-0 initially. Let's not forget that. He was absolutely wiping the floor again with Djokovic, but then I think Novak just, that's where Usman's point comes into play, that Nadal perhaps wasn't serving as well this year. He was perhaps getting a bit tight when ahead, and Djokovic just capitalized. And but if Djokovic had lost the third set, who knows? Maybe Nadal would have won the match in 4 sets, because that was a short down for Djokovic.
I would like to add one point to that. I think Nadal was also mentally, also mentally and physically draining himself in long matches. So once the third set was the most crucial set of the match. After third set, as an fan, I knew he couldn't catch up with Djokovic.
Okay, so guys, now the episode will start, and the things which you were talking about now, this is the time we're going to go into detail of what Djokovic, the way he played, and so we'll start off with the semi-finals. The first semi-final was an easy affair, you could say, between Tsitsipas and Medvedev, and Tsitsipas and Zverev, sorry. And it wasn't easy. It went to a 5-setter. However, Tsitsipas in the end did recover. But I would like to ask Heather first that we also talked a little about him last time around. But what has changed in Tsitsipas? He has done really well, and in the final, I would, in my opinion, say he gave a huge fight to Djokovic.
Oh, yes, he should have won the final actually. I sort of feel bad for him, but I think Tsitsipas has improved his fitness mainly, because he was always good on clay. He had those big backswings. His forehand was amazing. He takes the ball so early, he doesn't give his opponents time, takes the ball in the baseline, and he's really improved his backhand as well. I mean, in the final, he had a lot of good slice as well. He was serving well as well. That's also improved a lot. I think his mentality has improved, because last year, if you remember, he was 2 sets to love down and a match point down against Djokovic. Came back, pushed it to a fifth set, got injured, would have gone either way then. So I think it's just the overall mentality, and he feels really comfortable on clay. And in this year, he has won the most matches out of everyone.
He had a very good season.
Yes, he's had a very good season so far, and I think he's pretty much qualified for the year-end championships, which happens. The top 8 players who play there. So I think he was in his groove. He had the momentum. He had everything on his side. It's just he ran into one of the goats in the final, And if you look at it, Nadal faced an unknown in his first Grand Slam final. Federer had Philippoussis, Djokovic faced Tsonga. So this is where, in a way, I kind of feel for the next gen players, because in the final they're going to meet either Federer, Nadal, or Djokovic.
That's
the
that's the reality.
And he was 2 sets to love.
What would Usman you say about the match between Tsitsipas and Zverev? What did you like the match? You saw the match.
I think it's a very good match, because Zverev never gave up. He did come back after 2 sets down with Tsitsipas, remember? Or 2 sets.
He was down 2 sets to love.
Down,
He came back.
So he came back. So the fight was there. No one wanted to give up to go to the final. So the young
both players were playing well.
Yeah, both were good quality. Can't compare the quality of tennis with Nadal.
That I will add eventually.
That, as you can see, the tweets among the other players, that as even Andy Roddick said, that's one of the best clay court matches I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But the match was really good, and I think Tsitsipas deserved it more in that.
So now I'll come to the actual match which we were talking about, the Djokovic and Nadal match, the second semi-final. I'd like to share an opinion about, because this was the first Grand Slam I was properly watching every match, sort of, and looking, and I saw the match with Usman. Whether you were busy that day, I don't think he was busy because he wanted to see Djokovic lose.
Yeah.
But
no, actually, I was slightly busy, but then I turned into the second set and I was like, oh, this is.
Let's switch on the
so when we saw the match together, I kept on telling Usman that I've seen Tsitsipas play, Zverev play, Medvedev play, Sinner play. These were the good next gen players. However, the talent and the quality of tennis Djokovic and Nadal played, it's just unbelievable. It's inhuman. I don't think it's human. They're freak of nature.
Sometimes we think they're
Yeah.
They're not
not
human.
human.
I actually sometimes tell Usman that Djokovic is probably a clone machine made from Nadal and Federer and combined, and
Yeah,
he's a
he
complete
says that
package
himself.
player.
You
He's a
were
clone.
siding on Philip Chatrier that day.
But
Probably.
that was incredible. The match quality was incredible. Now I'd like to come to Heather first because he was talking about the match and what Djokovic did. I would like to share one thing. You started about one point about the 5-0, and it actually did help him the 5-0 point when he started to come back. I told Usman during the whole first set, even when he was 5-0 down, he didn't change his strategy. His strategy was hitting the ball on the line, and he constantly did that. He constantly did that. He was making mistakes, but I think those mistakes came
He
into a
was
flow.
coming the flow.
So, Heather, you would like to expand to that, and probably that
Yes.
would help him, that keeping up to his strategy and not changing
So
it in the game.
let's not forget, firstly, Novak in the first game had 2 break points on Nadal's serve. So who knows if he had broken then, maybe the first set would have gone Djokovic's way as well. So
Yeah.
what happened was Novak didn't break, Nadal gained momentum, broke immediately, broke again. But Novak had the right game plan, he just wasn't able to execute initially. He was probably missing a bit, probably not hitting as hard, probably maybe feeling the effects of last year. Maybe in his mind it was replaying all over again. I had break points, I didn't break, I'm a breakdown
Because
again.
it was similarly going
It was
5-0.
going that way psychologically. But I think Nadal sort of let Novak come back a little bit. He should have closed that set out at 6-1, I think, or 6-2. I think Djokovic getting one break back sort of gave him confidence going to set 2 definitely.
Belief. It's a belief.
Plus the sun was going down, Nadal's ball perhaps didn't have the same venom. And also the key stat between Nadal and Djokovic are those rallies won between 0 to 4 shots. Usually Nadal dominates those points because of his
That's
forehand.
exactly what I thought.
That is the biggest shot on the tennis court when these two play, especially on clay. So in a way, Matteo Berrettini was the perfect preparation for Novak Djokovic because he had the big serve and the big forehand. And Novak sort of was able to implement the same type of game plan against Nadal. He returned unbelievably well on Nadal's shoelaces.
That is, the return of serve was incredible.
Unbelievable. He neutralized his forehand. He was aided by the conditions a little bit, but like I said, he was so smart. He didn't just give Nadal one-dimensional balls, all of them being flat, hard to his forehand. He gave him top spins, the top spin
Nadal
forehand.
games,
Yes, basically he gave to Nadal what Nadal gives to his
Yeah.
opponents. On his backhand side, he broke down Nadal's backhand, which is the key to beating him on clay. And Novak, since his surgery, perhaps hasn't had the same endurance to go toe-to-toe with Nadal. But I think he was really motivated. He knew this was his best chance because the conditions were aiding him. He was in that zone. We talked about it initially. He just had that look in his eye
Yeah.
that he was so determined. And we saw the emotions come out against Berrettini because he wanted to get that done in 3 sets. He couldn't close out. But I think Matteo Berrettini provided the perfect preparation for him to counter those 0 to 4 shots, which Nadal usually wins.
I'll come to Usman now. Usman, I'll start off with one point. Djokovic, before the match, said he's going to win against Nadal in the conference. He felt focused. He wanted redemption from the last final, probably. And the final is not losing is not a point. There's no shame in losing to Nadal last year, but it's how he lost it. It's how he lost it. That Bagel, especially, embarrassed him probably, and he wanted that revenge. I'm guessing. But my question to you, adding to it, is because you being a Nadal fan, I saw mostly from the second set when the match was getting a little tighter and Nadal did fight in the second set a lot. But I could tell, Nadal is getting tired. Djokovic didn't feel like he was breaking a sweat. And Nadal was getting like gasping, he was sweating profusely, he was running, he was hardly getting to shots. So you would agree to that there was this aspect of tiredness coming into Nadal's game now as well?
Definitely agree. First of all, Nadal's gameplay is very different from Djokovic. Nadal puts a lot of energy, a lot of running, a lot of power in every shot, and he has a bigger body mass compared to Djokovic, who's very lean. So for him to running from that end to the other end, it drains him. You have more muscle mass, it drains you a lot. So for him, in order to win his match, his game style, he has to win it quick. After the third set, I already told you that he's not going to win the match because he put every single drop of sweat in that third set, and which was for nothing at the end.
And sorry to cut you off, but because Djokovic saw that, that Nadal was getting tired, he made him play one more shot,
Yeah.
one extra shot every point.
And also,
That extra shot which
not
brought him
only
tired.
physically, mentally, he was drained, and his confidence was shattered after putting so much effort in the third set.
That was a set. You said it.
Because
That
once
was
you
a
lose
set.
the tiebreak, there's nothing. You have lost the set. Whatever you have achieved in that set,
Yeah.
it goes down the drain. And also the unforced errors from Djokovic was very low compared to Nadal. If you come to stats, you
Four
can
or
see
five
that
in set three.
the forehand winners for Nadal was more than Djokovic's forehand
Yeah,
winners.
but
But Djokovic's backhand was more. So that was balanced.
We were discussing the same thing till the end of the match as well. Djokovic and Nadal pretty much had the same
Yeah.
points.
Till the third set, they had equal points. They were playing equally good enough for both of each other.
But key points.
But the key point of the difference is Djokovic always better in tiebreak, and also the double faults and the unforced error were higher for Nadal compared to the previous years he
The
had.
one thing I'd never seen Nadal do was, remember, it was I think in the tiebreak.
Yeah, it was in tiebreak.
It was an overhead
Over
shot,
smash.
and that was what showed his tiredness. He lost his focus. He lost the grip on the
I think it's the
racket.
one where he got broken in the second set.
Yes.
or
You
definitely
never
not.
see that happening. Yeah, but with Djokovic, you can get away with other players, as I mentioned at the start of the video.
With
But with
yeah.
Djokovic, he just needed one slight opening of the door, and he'll go inside that door when he sees the light. That's what happened. And the other thing is, the first set when he was 5-0 down, Djokovic, that guy still had belief in himself. As you can see in the interview, he said, "I'm playing good, and I will win the match," even when he was 5-0 down. He knew that his shots were coming back in the court, he was getting in the rhythm, and he believed in himself. He's like, even though I'm going to lose the first set, I'm going to win the match. That's what you need in order to beat a great player like Nadal.
The mental strength.
Yeah, and Nadal was drained at the end, so he couldn't do anything.
Yes,
I'll ask you guys. Yes, I'll ask you guys. How many times have we said Nadal's opponent now is getting tired? We've said that a lot at the French Open.
Especially Sinner, we talked about
Exactly. So why do you think that happens? It's because Nadal pushes his opponents from one side to the next, takes them off the court.
That's
and
what
drives
Djokovic
them.
was doing in Nadal.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. That's why Nadal. I think it's the first time that he's actually felt someone do to him what he's done to everybody else. And at 34, 35 years of age, it's going to take your legs out eventually.
And also,
Plus, clay court is, I think, the most difficult court
It is.
for
Yes, it
players, for athletes.
even
to play.
Djokovic coach said that it's the toughest Grand Slam to win, on clay, because it's different games, a different pace of the game.
It takes a lot of
It takes
output
a lot of-
physically.
It does take a lot out of
I
it.
think Nadal also didn't really capitalize the Djokovic second serve that well because he was pretty much
That
doing
is
it.
what I want to come into. Because if
Yes.
if you look into, I'm going to take that answer, but if you look into how Djokovic, when he comes into his second serve, he completely drops the pace.
Yeah, he's dropping.
He gives you a chance to take your position and hit a shot. However, there is a technical point to it.
Also, the conditions were changing as well after the first set. The sun was going down and the balls were bouncing low. So Djokovic knew as the match progresses, condition will come towards him and he has a better chance.
Yeah.
For this, I'd probably go back to the clay court season. I think this clay court season, Nadal didn't really find his forehand. I think throughout his matches, when he got tight, he wasn't really finding that zip off his forehand. I mean, he did win Rome and everything, but I still believe that confidence that he usually had was not there. I don't know what the reason was. He didn't have that self-belief because usually Nadal, as soon as someone hits a second serve, he runs around, just smashes his forehand, gets the ball high on the opponent's backhand, and then he's in control of the rally. I just feel this season, that forehand was really up and down. You even saw against Schwartzman, he was losing it. He didn't really have that consistency in that.
Yeah.
For whatever reason it was, maybe the conditions, maybe he knew Novak was playing at a very high level, but I thought he could have capitalized more on his second serves, perhaps even serve and volleyed a little bit more than Nadal. He didn't do that at all because of Novak's quality returns. So I have to go back to the start of the clay court season. I think Nadal never really found his forehand this season the way it usually is. I mean, the ones that he hits down the line, he finds so much consistency, especially in the latter stages of the French Open.
Consistency
He
is
just didn't
dropping.
have
There's being more errors even in the previous clay season. So you can see the Nadal wasn't the same Nadal in the previous years. So we knew that this was going to haunt him if he gets a player like Djokovic.
मैंने वैसे बहुत लॉबी किया था तुम लोगों के माइंड में ऐसा था ही गया था कि नडाल शायद हार जाए इस बार इतना महीने से लगा हुआ था कि इस बार फीलिंग आ
And if you've seen tennis for the past 15 years, you would have gone 10 times about.
Yeah.
That's what saddens the Nadal fans because we have seen the best era of clay as a Nadal's
Yeah.
perspective, and you will never ever see a player like this in the
Okay,
history.
so guys, sorry, but history was made.
It was.
It is
Done,
definite.
done.
The only player who did
But now, let's come to the big final because this time the final wasn't that one-sided. Normally, from the previous years, I've heard and I've seen that Roland Garros
First
final
5 seconds since 2004.
Yeah, because there's no
So
Nadal.
this time, Tsitsipas started off with a bang. He went 2 sets to love up. Djokovic, as usual, the funny part is, I'm going to say it about just my opinion. When Djokovic was 2-0 down as well, you just don't feel like Djokovic can lose. You think that he'll come back, he'll do something. He's not getting tired. He has his game plan on. Even when the commentators were talking about when he lost the second set in a tiebreak, and they said he's invested so much in this tiebreak and he might lose the match now because Djokovic might have gotten tired and demotivated because of not winning the tiebreaker. However, it was just Djokovic doing his Joker things, what like Usman said.
Yeah.
So, what do you have to say about the final and what happened?
Well, initially I thought Tsitsipas was absolutely redlining his game. First Grand Slam final, you could tell they were going toe to
He was
toe
on.
into it. In the pressure moment, Novak broke, but surprisingly got broken back. And I think Tsitsipas played a very good tiebreak. I think Djokovic had a set point, perhaps.
Yeah.
He picked the forehand down the line. Was it? Yes, it was
It
down
was
the line.
actually very funny that Tsitsipas was 4-0 up.
Exactly.
Then Djokovic came
Came back.
5-4, 6-4 up. And
Exactly.
then Tsitsipas came back and
So
won.
this sort of
It.
yes tells us that if not that I'm bringing the semi-final into this again and again, but if Nadal had won the tiebreak, who knows? Maybe Novak would have lost. Like he lost the second set 6-2. But I think Djokovic felt drained. You know, he really had put in that much energy. Don't forget the interesting stat is those who have beaten Nadal at the French Open have not won that tournament the same year.
Yeah, that
They've
was a
gone
huge
on to
stat. Yeah.
So Djokovic really
That's
had
a
another
sad
thing.
final.
Exactly. When he was down 2 sets to none, I knew it wasn't going to be a straight setter. I thought Djokovic would probably lose in 4, at most 5. But boy, does he have that iron grip. I mean, he
Doesn't
only
let it
broke
go.
once in the 5th set and he held on till the end. How many times do you say that in a Grand Slam
The
final?
thing is, he played 9-hour plus match in the past 24 hours, a brutal 9-hour match. How can he have that much energy in the tank? Like, how can he
So,
recover so
Usman,
fast?
I'd like to add that question now because Heather talked about the final from you. So, what would you say? Was Djokovic just too good, or Tsitsipas also had a thing in it that he played badly in there? Because I feel Tsitsipas actually played well till the end. It's not like he dropped his game.
I think
It's just Djokovic was just getting better and better with every.
Djokovic didn't defeat him physically, he defeated him mentally. That was because he had a lot of experiences in high pressure matches and he knows how to come back and from where to come back. He's come back from championship point, as you can see in the Wimbledon. So this guy can come back from anywhere. So once 2 sets he was down, he still had that belief in him. Well, Tsitsipas, the pressure was still there for him that I need to win the third set in order to win the match. But Djokovic played him mentally in the
It was just a very good quality match in my opinion. Tsitsipas also played really well. On any other day, he could have won that match as well. But Djokovic was too
It
good.
was Djokovic's fate because you can see the match between Seti. I'm sorry, I'm bringing the match.
Yeah.
What if he was 2 sets down? Do you think Djokovic would have come back in that match if he was fully fit to Seti?
No, that's again in F because in the final, Djokovic is 2-0 down and he won the Grand Slam. So,
So now you have that thing, he can come back,
yeah.
even in that match.
So he proved it, yeah.
And my other question is, what if Nadal was in the other draw and he would have met Djokovic in the final? What would have been the result?
Draws are randomly made. If that
I told you
And-
before
and-
our predictions that draw will really matter. That's why I say that
Yeah.
because I think if
and
Nadal and
these things
Djokovic,
matter. So I'm just going to say, like in every sport, the ifs can arise all the time.
Because I want to know the perspective, like as a third person, like what would have been the result? What is the condition if you take out?
You might know it next year because
simple. I'd say if Nadal was in the final against Djokovic, I think Nadal would have won. First game was hot, the ball was kicking up. It was a final. Maybe Djokovic would have been more tired, but
And if Nadal was with Tsitsipas in the final,
I think Nadal would have won.
But guys, again, I would like to say that the ifs are gone and Djokovic did win, and there is no because it has happened, and the guy who wins deserves to win.
you played
And Nadal will like now because we reviewed the final and everything. Now let's just because inshallah hell शुरू हुआ है तो हम Wimbledon की भी तैयारी शुरू कर we're going to start the Wimbledon talks now because Wimbledon is coming up. Just want to ask you, Usman, that do you feel Nadal can come back next year and win the Roland Garros? Do you feel he has
He will.
in him to come back and win it?
Nadal is in that stage now. He has to compromise other Grand Slams in order to win French Open, like Federer was doing 2-3 years back.
Yeah.
He's in the same situation. Now, in order to play French, he has to give up few slams.
And what I've heard,
Yeah.
Nadal might not play in the
He will not play
Wimbledon.
Wimbledon because there's only 2-week difference. So now he has to look at his physique, his body, how to recover, not go for injuries. So he'll be very careful now, and his fully focus will be, I think, on French. It was already on French, but now it will be primarily on French, I would say. So he will come back next year.
So I'll come to Heather. So I'm not going to go into the debate of the GOAT, obviously, because it's a long debate anyway, so it's another episode. But Djokovic, he's with time, with every tournament coming up.
Almost there.
Federer and Nadal's time is pretty much getting now in the end phase, the climax of their careers. However, Djokovic feels like he has many years still to
Even though
play.
Djokovic is nearly same as Nadal, but the problem with or the greatness
The
with
fitness
Djokovic is no, he's good on every court,
So he can win anywhere.
on every surface.
So I asked Heather about it. So what do you say that, like being a Federer fan yourself, it's hard to say, but is it reality somewhere coming?
You have to
in?
accept it.
I think it's a monumental achievement of what Djokovic did, no question about it, beating Nadal. It's the way he beat him in 4 sets. He out Nadal.
And don't
Nadal.
forget, by the end of the year, it's just too early to call, but he can win both
Yeah,
the next
exactly.
both Grand
He can
Slams,
call
and
Grand
he can be
Slam.
above both Federer and
No
Nadal
doubt,
in the
no
end
doubt.
of the
He'll
season.
definitely be there. But having said that, what if Federer converts one of those championship points in 2019? Would you not consider that achievement equally as impressive
It
what
would
Novak
have
did?
been, but
It would have been, but
didn't
it's not.
happen.
Exactly. I agree.
But again, you cannot deny a miracle happening.
It can
Federer
happen.
coming in a
Yeah,
Wimbledon and when you're winning the Wimbledon,
You can.
and then if Federer wins a Wimbledon around
The
40,
debate will open again.
then I think.
Exactly.
But the debate pretty much ends for Federer winning the Grand Slam at 40, and that's
But you cannot say unless they reach the age of 40 and retire.
Yeah,
he has to wait for
so
them
there's
to
no
retire
debate.
every month.
Yeah.
If you are, sorry, go
Sorry.
on.
But defeating Nadal, which no other player has done over the past 50 years, except for Solden, I won't count that match. But it says for itself.
Yeah.
The court.
So let's not get into the whole. But you can say one final thing you wanted to say about it. Then.
I just wanted to say that basically, I mean, it's about comparing the achievements and everything. I mean,
Yeah.
Nadal, defeating Nadal, I just want to comment on where these guys are. I think Djokovic obviously is the favorite
Numbers wise, if you would say,
to go and surpass everyone in the GOAT debate. Federer might get a slam or two, but Nadal, will he win the next French Open? If you ask me
that's the
personally.
question.
If Nadal had lost in 5 sets and it would have been a very close 5th set, 7-5, I would have said definitely. Now, what has happened this way is people now can see that he can get fatigued. And the conditions will suit someone one day or the other. In the quarterfinal, it will be a night condition. I think next year people will improve. They will have more self-belief. Nadal will be 36. I'd say if he doesn't win next year, Nadal, he's not going to win the French again.
Okay. But my final thing about the GOAT point is that the GOAT debate will always stay due to the point that every fan and every sports fan and every person has probably a different criteria of what a GOAT is. For a Federer fan, it's different. For a Nadal fan, it's different. A lot of anti-Nadal fans would say that his achievements are only on clay, but for a Nadal fan, they don't see it.
No one has ever achieved that.
So that's why I think the GOAT debate is probably criteria-wise.
Never-ending boxing match.
Yeah, it's just everyone will have a point,
and also for Nadal to win next year, he has to be lucky.
so guys,
Draw
we are
will matter a
coming
lot.
to an end of the episode. Inshallah, now the tennis part is a little over for the time being, and
Yeah,
for
right
the
now.
next episode we're going to come to cricket, PSL going on.